Hello, everyone. I'm Jen with Envision St. John, the Regional Growth Agency. This is Jill Nadeau, owner of Uncorked Tours and Tastings, which is where we're sitting now in the historic, pardon me, I'm going to move the screen, St. John City Market. I'm just going to show you behind me a little bit where we are right now. So we were hoping to do this outside, but the weather is not as nice as we might want it to be. So we're indoors today.
Who knew weather in April wouldn't be 25 and sunny? All right. Well, I hope everybody has been enjoying your tour of the Bay of Fundy so far. I know even as a St. Johnner, it was really fun for me to join in for the first couple sessions of your tour today. Because, you know, sometimes when you're in your own space, maybe you don't ask all of the questions. And so to get a lot of that information is really great for me so that we can go on and share it. So I guess I'm the one who's supposed to make you a cocktail, right? We're supposed to have drinks now.
It is Friday afternoon. So
you've all been,
New Brunswick.
You've all been very good and very patient. Oh, geez.
And it made it.
So here we go.
So I think for those of you who did receive the kits, we know you received maple syrup. Those who didn't, surprise, you're getting maple syrup from New Brunswick maple syrup. And with that, we're making a bit of a cocktail. I know Allison sent the recipe along, and Gillian is going to take us through that process.
All right, so what we are making today, or what you're going to make when you do get your ingredients, is the Slocum's Maple Smash. So Slocum and Ferris is one of the longest standing tenants here at the St. John City Market. There has been a Slocum and Ferris here since 1895. So well over 100 years.
What kind of glass?
So you'll be receiving, so what kind of glass? We're gonna make it in our little rocks glass. But I wanted to tell you about the maple syrup because I don't have my maple syrup thing. But your maple syrup is also coming from Slocum and Ferris. So you'll be getting one of these guys, which I'll talk about in just a minute. And you'll also be getting maple syrup from Slocum and Ferris. It looks like this, but pretend it's a smaller bottle. Smaller, you know, shipping is expensive. So the Slocum Maple Smash is a really simple cocktail. It has 3 ingredients. Yeah, 3 ingredients. And it is a stirred cocktail. So you don't even need a cocktail shaker. So really straightforward. You're going to start with your spirit. So in this case, we used a moonshine, which is a white whiskey. You can make this with a vodka or a white rum at home. Really, whatever you have for a nice local spirit that's local to you is going to really highlight this cocktail. So we're going to put our whiskey in our glass. So that's about 1.5 ounces of whiskey or vodka. Your maple syrup, you're going to do about 3/4 of an ounce of maple syrup. You're going to do about 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice. I'm being given the 1 ounce signal from my bartender behind me. So we're going to up that to 1 ounce of lemon juice. And then to make it really simple, I use a chopstick as my stirring utensil. And you want to get it right in there and do a nice vigorous stir. You want to make sure that your maple syrup is fully incorporated and that your lemon juice has a little bit of time to brighten up. There you go, Jen.
Thank you.
And then just to cool it down and cut through a little bit of that sweetness, we throw in just a couple ice cubes like that. And here at Uncorked, we really want the spirit to come through. We're spirit-forward cocktails, wine, and that sort of thing. So we actually serve this as a martini, just as it is. But if you're home You can top it with a little bit of club soda or a little bit of just like Soda Stream sparkling water. Or if you really have a sweet tooth, you can use some tonic or some Sprite. But this just as its own little maple martini is what we call the Slocum Smash. Thank you. So cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. Yum.
It's pretty good. And the maple syrup, you know, you could use a simple syrup. This is just a Soda Stream. I'm sure you guys are pretty familiar with carbonated water at home. You know, the maple syrup is a great substitute at any time for simple syrup. You know, and here on the East Coast in particular, we really tend to use it in place of sugar in everything, including coffee.
Yeah.
So that is our little smash.
Can you read the recipe one more time?
Oh yeah, so the recipe again is 1.5 ounces of neutral spirits. So this is going to be your moonshine, your vodka, your white rum. You want about 3/4 of an ounce of maple syrup and about 1 ounce of lemon juice. So you stir it all together vigorously to get this tan colored cocktail. And then we just serve it like this. We like to keep it pretty simple and pretty casual here at the tasting room. So there you go. That's that. I think got some little things. Oh yeah, side note. So funny you should mention that. We also created a little tasting board, and hiding on our little tasting board is this guy right here. So if you come to visit us, you can get fresh cured maple smoked salmon from North Market Seafood right here in the city market. So you can see it there. It's friggin' delicious, guys. It's absolutely delicious. Send me an email, I'll ship it to you. So yeah, I mean, the salmon is delicious. We did have a budget. I know. Maybe we could look for sponsorship.
Yeah.
So I think I'm supposed to tell you a little bit about St. John, a little bit about the Bay of Fundy. One of the great things about the city of St. John, the port city, is that we really do have access to a lot of those urban niceties, those urban amenities in a small city sort of vibe. I mean, here in St. John, we're only about 70,000 people total. And what that means is that you have a really sort of laid back atmosphere going on in the city itself. But we also have access to beautiful natural spaces. So you guys get to start at the Hopewell Rocks, which is about 2.5 hours from us. If anybody's really kind of keeping track of where we're going, the Hopewell Rocks is about 2.5 hours from St. John. So it is a full day trip if you're going to go down and come back. And so what happens is that at the Hopewell Rocks, you're right at the top of the Bay of Fundy. So I think they talked about the funnel. So at the Hopewell Rocks, you're up at the top of the funnel. And so your tides are very high, over 50 feet twice a day. Here in St. John, I'm actually wearing a New Brunswick shirt, but pointing at my chest isn't really the most appropriate way to orient you. But here in St. John, you can imagine that we're about halfway up the Bay of Fundy. And so our tides are roughly half those at Hopewell Rocks. Our tides here in St. John are still 26 feet twice a day, every day. And so that means that if you're here and you're taking in kind of the urban landscape, you still have access to those really high tides. You can sit on the beach and within an hour or two, watch the tide fully recede or make its way in. And so we have beautiful sandy beaches all around the city of St. John, and really have access to those natural landscapes. You know, the city as well is, after you've had a chance to kind of hit all of these natural wonders, you know, you're going to want to find some nice restaurants, you're going to want to find some nice accommodations. And those are things that St. John does have to offer really in spades. I mean, Jen, you can correct me. I think the number is something like 80 restaurants within 16 square blocks right here in our uptown.
5 blocks.
5,
Yeah.
but like 5 by
Oh,
5.
well, yeah, 5 by 5.
Right.
Yes,
So
yes,
that's
yeah.
25. That's
Yeah.
even more.
Split it in.
But yeah, just to say that, I mean, if you're looking for seafood on the Atlantic coast, you know, if you're looking for any of that fare from the land, if you're looking for local cheeses, those are all available here in St. John. We're the New Brunswick. I mean, we're not the New Brunswick capital of the world. I shouldn't speak out of turn, but New Brunswick is a huge blueberry producer. So, you know, the things like blueberries and salmon and all of those things, you know, they're things that we really enjoy. We live off them. Well, some of us do. So I wanted to, just before I open it up to questions for you guys, I wanted to point out this guy again. So you're going to be receiving this in your care packages. So this is a sea spice that is made with dulse as its salt component. So dulse looks like this when it's dried. Sorry, should have prepared. So dulse is a seaweed that grows here in the Bay of Fundy. It's primarily harvested on the island of Grand Manan, which is one of our Fundy islands. You get to arrive there by ferry. It's about an hour-and-a-half ferry. It's a great little trip island hopping down here. And so at low tide, they'll harvest this seaweed from the beaches. They'll lay it out in parking lots on tarps so that it can air dry in the sun. And then you end up with this kind of crispy, chewy, salty, very healthy snack. And so what the great folks at Slocums have done is they've taken all of the amazing health benefits of dulse. So it's things like it's high in iodine and magnesium and manganese and calcium and zinc and copper and everything that's really hard for us land-dwelling people to get in our diets. And they've put it right here in your steak spice. So you're going to want to use this on things like baked potatoes or on your seafood chowders or in your soups as a salt component, or put it on your fried eggs. It's absolutely delicious. And I say that because I go through bottles of this every season. It's just a really, really tasty alternative to your classic steak spice. That's really where you're going to use this guy here. So I think we're approaching time on us here. Is there?
So we do have a question already. The first one is, what are the top 3 dishes you'd recommend trying in St. John? And just before you answer that, I noticed they spelled St. John ST. And just one thing that I didn't mention was that sometimes people get St. John and St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador mixed up. They spell it St. John, but this St. John is actually the full saint, SAINT, despite giving you drinks in the middle of your workday.
Okay, so
so yes, top three meals.
Wow.
3 meals.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay, I know mine.
Okay, you go first then. Let me think.
You want to think?
Yeah, I know one for sure.
Well, okay, so I know one for sure. Okay, so one for sure is definitely the Captain's Feast that comes from Steamer's Lobster Company, right down on Water Street. You can get a Captain's Feast for 1 or 2 people. And it includes your lobster, a bucket of steamed mussels, your corn on the cob, a seafood chowder, and a nice dinner roll just to round the whole thing out. So that would be my top one. And the price is actually really good. I think it's $49 for 1 person or $79 for 2 people to have the full lobster dinner for them. So that would be my number 1. If you're not going to cook a lobster on the beach with me, you can go eat it on the deck with Steamers. My number 2 is probably going to be the East Coast Bistro salad. And that comes from ECB. And you can get it with seared scallops. It's got a buttermilk dressing. It's got this like candied bacon pork belly thing. Really, 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 really good. So I know it has salad in the name. Just forget about that. The ECB salad is probably my number 2.
Okay, I've got the number 3.
Okay.
The lobster roll from the St. John Ale House. I think it's 2 to 2.5 pounds of lobster. So a little larger than your most. Like it actually comes so overflowing with lobster that they actually stick the antennae in it, and sticks out when it comes because it actually is that big.
It's a 4-person lobster roll.
It absolutely is. I didn't know once and ordered it at lunchtime because it was a special. Oh my God. It was just on the board. It was summertime. We were sitting on the beautiful boardwalk looking out at the Bay of Fundy. Why wouldn't I have a lobster roll? And it was literally enough for myself, the person I was eating with, and 2 other people. And I ate it all. So I did. Yeah. It is a little more expensive, but you are paying for what you're receiving, and it is delicious.